My name is Kris Krohn, and today I'm going to be talking about how to become financially independent by investing in real estate. And today I thought I would share a little bit more of my background and my story that's gotten me to the point where I'm now buying a home just about every single day of the year.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
You know, it's so bizarre for me to look at where I'm at today and how I put people on the same journey that I've been on to create wealth, because in the beginning, I didn't have any desire of being wealthy. I didn't have any desire of being a megalomillionaire. I did want to be a doctor. I did want the ability to take care of my family, and I was willing to work hard. And I knew that doctors worked hard, and I knew they had a lot of school and they had a lot of student debt. What I didn't really expect was that society was going to kind of chew me up and spit me out and start telling me what I was really good at and what I sucked at. And university ended up teaching me that I really didn't have much of a proclivity for the sciences. So that was a time in my life where I had probably my lowest level of self-belief. I had a lot of determination, but I really didn't think that I was going to amount to a whole lot. I don't know if you can relate to that or if you've ever felt that way, because the first time that bubble was popped, I thought, man, it's kind of over for me. Today I want to share with you, though, my journey of becoming financially independent and how I help other people do the same thing. In fact, just yesterday, I had Jack Doherty. He's a YouTube celebrity. He was staying here at my house. He flew in with him and his dad. He's got a few million subscribers. And I was helping him as a 15-year-old get on his path to financial independence. And I thought, man, I was looking at his game plan, like I'm going to give you today. And I'm like, man, that kid is going to achieve his dreams so much faster than I did, because even though I figured it out now, I was financially free by my mid-20s. That is so wild that he gets to do it way faster than me. And I'm happy for him, and I wish that for him, and I wish that for you. So let me just kind of back up and kind of tell you what went down. I discovered real estate investing because I met a very wealthy man at a financial training seminar on budgeting, of all things, right? And they were trying to teach me and my wife, who were newly married, how to be somewhat financially functional, how to make some good financial choices. But something was weird about this man. I couldn't put my finger on it. I thought, he talks weird. There's a lightness, there's a carefreeness about him. And so when the seminar was done, I went up to him and I said, hey, what do you do for work? I thought maybe he just had a cool job. And he said, well, I haven't had a job. And I said, for how long? He said, well, I've been living the last 10 years overseas. I just got back to the States. I've just been traveling the world with my family. And I thought, so you don't have a job and you're traveling the world, so were you born rich? He said, no, I leveraged real estate investment. I made a lot of money, and then I didn't need to work anymore. And in that moment, I realized something. I had found my path. Now, you can probably remember the time when you got stung by real estate and you knew this is how you're going to do it. But the challenge is, dude, real estate is a lot to take down. I mean, think about it. Real estate takes a lot of money. It's one of the most expensive commodities. Houses that I buy cost $100,000, $200,000. And you're like, I'm going to have a job for a couple years. I'm going to have to save up loads of money. I'm probably going to have good credit. I don't know anything about this stuff. I don't even possess the knowledge. So it seemed like a huge hill to overcome. But when I bought my first property, it's because I had a mentor. And if I can recommend anything, you need to find your mentor. This is a man or a woman that has produced 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times what your goal is that you want from real estate. And make sure they've already done it. I found 3 mentors that met that criteria. And so my first mentor was actually helping me buy my first house. And because of his mentorship, the house was worth $150,000. I bought it for $110,000. So I had $40,000 of equity. Had a basement apartment that I rented out, which meant that I was living for free because my mortgage every month was equivalent to what that basement rent was. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, I worked hard to make that first deal happen. And I had to save a few $1,000s, like $3,300 to make that deal happen. And for me, that's all I had. So I was putting it all on the line. I was trusting my mentor. And on the one hand, I was scared and I was nervous, but I was also excited because I felt like I was doing something. Turned out that this first house would be a really big deal to me because when my wife and I were living for free, it meant that we had some extra money for the first time ever to start actually paying down some debt, and that felt good. But I'll tell you what happened next, and I want you to extract this principle. I did it once, and I knew if I could do it once, I knew it would be very meaningful if I could do it a second time. So some of you are working just on your first deal, so watch this. My second deal, I used the equity from my first house, pulled it out, and I put it in my second home. This home, after I paid the mortgage, I was testing this new thing I'd heard about called a lease option. And these people moved in, they wrote me a $3,000 check, and they were paying way higher than normal rent. So I was making $600 a month, and $600 extra a month plus living for free. That meant that my wife and I were really getting out of debt fast. So when you do real estate, it might be hard to do when you're brand new. But the reality is, real estate has the ability to give you any lifestyle that you want. I mean, last year I think I traveled to several continents, traveled nearly a dozen times, went to Monaco, the most expensive place on the planet. I got to travel to India, the poorest place on the planet. I got to live life and I got to experience it. I got to upgrade from, frankly, one mansion to another, beautiful home up here in the mountains. I can pretty much drive any car I want. But in the beginning, I was delaying all that gratification. That first house that I bought was so strategic. That second house of $600 a month meant getting out of debt. After 2 times, this is when magic takes place, and I want you to write this down. When you do something twice, you now know that it's a pattern and not luck. It wasn't a fluke. The first one, you're going to get a big boost of confidence, but not maybe one that says I'm ready to be a millionaire, just one that says, well, maybe I can do this a second time. After I did it a second time, I knew I could do it again. I did it a third and a fourth, and then I kept on going. At 25 homes, I was able to quit my job. I had a 6-figure residual income. I never needed to work again for anyone else. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm actually working probably harder today than I was then, but I'm working because I want to work. I get to do the work that is enjoyable. Making this video for you is enjoyable. Because reality is, my mentors in the beginning, they were real investors that didn't always know exactly how to train or how to teach, and I'd ask them questions that they couldn't answer. Today, I'm very fortunate that I'm buying a house just about every single day of the year. But because of the way I've set my life up, I also have the time to give back. So this channel is dedicated to you. It's a contribution. It says, learn from me, mentor with me for free. Use the things that I've learned and use it to improve your life and make it better. Making this channel comes at an important expense, but one that feels appropriate because I've now met people all over the world that have been able to take the things I've shared here and have made their lives better. Now I'm going to drop on you a big secret because I am getting to showing you, I want you to understand how you can buy a house every single day of the year. In the beginning, it was 14 months of saving up just to buy one house. And then after that, if I were to actually map this out, over time, it took me 14 months just to do this first house. And then a year later, I did a second house. And then after that, I did 3 and 4. But check this out. There was a time then when I started doing many more houses and at a more rapid rate. Today, it's like straight up. It's crazy. But what created this is what I want to share with you. I learned during this gap that I didn't have to be restricted by my own knowledge. Someone else could have the knowledge. I didn't have to be restricted by my own money. I could use someone else's money. And I didn't have to be restricted by my own credit. I could use someone else's credit. And once I put all that together, I started buying homes like crazy. Now check it out. My partners, they were putting up the money and they were putting up the credit. And what was I doing? This is me, this is you. I was now putting up my knowledge. And by putting up my knowledge and by putting up the team, they put up the money and the credit, and then we could keep on buying. But I eventually built a team that would also do all of the work for me as well. So in the end, what I really get paid for now is my knowledge. And this is what enables me to buy as much real estate as I want. So if I had some advice for you today on what can you do to follow the same path, number one, the most important thing you can be doing is saving money for your first investment. If you have a relationship with a friend or a family member that wants to go in with you, do it, because you want to do the fastest thing that can get your hands on a good deal. The second thing that you want to do is then you want to do a second deal. And frankly, you want to do this until you have 5. 5 is a magic number because when you do something once, you say, oh, I don't know if I could duplicate that ever again. I got lucky. You do it a second time, you're like, well, maybe that's a pattern, but maybe it's fluke. You do it 3 times, you're like, well, this is definitely a pattern, but can I really keep it up? By the 5th time, strangers start saying, can I give you some money and can you help me do this? Because you've gone through the hardest part and now you're home selling free. You got to have a game plan to get to 5 homes. Once you get up to 5 homes, then you can leverage your track record and you can do a whole lot more. Now, the last thing that you're gonna need, I think it's important to have two things actually. Number one, you need to have a system, a strategy. You can't just buy anything in real estate. You need to duplicate the same thing you've done over and over again. I've written a book and it describes my strategy. My math is I evaluated the top 30 strategies and I said, what's the simplest strategy for a beginner that will take the least time and effort and risk and make the most money? And that's what I wrote this book about. It'll show you how to go from nothing to $1 million. And you can actually have the book for free. Cover shipping, and my team and I will get it sent off to you and it's all yours. You can find that link below. That's the first thing you need is a system. The second thing that I recommend, you need a mentor. You need someone that can answer your questions. You need someone that can keep you from buying dumb properties. You need someone that can evaluate your choices and help you make better choices. So if you have a system, which you can get in my free book, and if you get a mentor, that free book happens to come with a free game plan analysis. That means someone from my team will talk with you and say, hey, if we were you, this is what Kris would do. And then you can look at it and say, wow, that's brilliant. That's exactly what I need to do. Or you might say, no, maybe that's not my path. But either way, if you want to become financially independent through real estate, if you want to live the life of your dreams, if you want to live life on your terms, if you want to get your time back, if you want to be and live emancipated, then get a system, get a mentor. I'm making both of those options available down in the link below. Either way, I certainly wish you the best of luck because you know what? In the beginning, I thought that I was too dumb to do this. I didn't think I had what it took. And what I learned is that there was a lot more to me than I really knew. And I'm telling you right now, I've had a chance to travel all around the world and meet people everywhere. And without meeting you, I know this already about you. There's a lot more to you than you're aware of even yourself. So if you made it this far in the video and you're ready for your next step, click the link below. Take that next step with me. Let me get you some free information. And let's get you living your life on your terms. Take care, subscribe, see you tomorrow.